Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Anaya Bangar, and today's video is going to be about why I decided to transition. So, this story is about my self discovery and the struggles that I've faced as a woman of transgender experience. Sharing this is really close to my heart because I know how isolating and confusing this whole journey can feel, and I hope this video helps someone who's questioning themselves or are looking out for a friend, and I hope it can provide some kind of clarity or comfort. So, the first time I ever felt dysphoric was around the age of 7 or 8 when I used to hide in my own room and wear my mom's clothes. And I used to look into the mirror and I always used to say that I'm a girl, I want to be a girl. But I always wondered, why was I born like a boy or had to be a boy? So that kept on happening for a few years where I always hid and never told anyone about it. And I had started playing cricket by the age of 12. I used to go to practice and everything. And cricket taught me that I need to be a certain way. I need to be more masculine in order to be able to fit in with all the other boys. Otherwise, I would be made fun of. And I always wondered that, I always thought that all the other boys feel the same way as me. Like all the other boys who were there in school with me, I thought that even they have the same feelings as me. Even they felt like they want to be a girl but they can't. And that's what I kept on telling myself and tried to suppress those feelings for a really long time. So I kept on doing that for a while, where I used to hide from everyone and I used to dress up as a girl and just be happy like that in my own room until someone knocked into the door and they wanted to come in, or whatever it may be. And so I tried to do that till the age of 14 or 15, where it got to a point where I I got so ashamed of myself that I tried to bury those feelings completely and try to be the manliest version of me that is out there. Cause whenever I saw myself in the mirror, I felt like I didn't recognize that person, and I always question like what's happening. Like, why can't I see myself in the mirror? Like, it never really connected with me how I saw myself in the mirror and how I felt from within, which I didn't even have the words to describe it back then. So it just felt easier for me to bury it away and not do that ever. And it did kind of work for a while, for a year I guess, where uh, I got so ashamed. I just kept that part of me hidden. I never told that to anyone. I never expressed it to anyone, and I just focused on cricket completely. And I tried to be this macho guy that everyone expects, or be the most good-looking guy out there. But I it just didn't seem to click with me, even though I kept on doing that. So I started like going to the gym and building this body that a good looking guy has, in order to think or feel that I'll be able to have that same feeling which I had when I used to dress up. And I did everything from like building the perfect body, being so fit and being this cricketer. And I always loved the sport, and I was also worried about, if this comes out to people, if people find out about this, I'm going to be made fun of. I won't fit in with other guys and they'll just view me as something different. And also, with my dad's fame in the sport, I was worried that uh, I was more scared about how all of this would come out as, because I all whenever I used to go into the ground, everyone used to say, "Oh, this is Sanjay Bangar's son, like who's going by," or I always had that external pressure on me. So I just tried to cope with it by hiding myself and dressing up and living this different life out in the world where everyone saw me for a guy playing cricket. And cricket has always been something that I love and I still love playing. I started playing since the age of 3, when my dad used to throw me plastic balls, and I me and him used to practice together in the house. And that that and me thinking about transitioning as well at that point made me fear about cricket in itself. So I kept on doing that. I played for Mumbai under 16 and Pondicherry under 19 for a few years, and then lockdown happened. While I was playing for the cricket teams, I was going on tours. I was playing interstate matches, and I was always surrounded with guys. And during that period, I it was really difficult for me in just to be normal around all these other guys. I felt like I needed to build up this image or talk in a certain way where I feel included, or I feel the same, or I'm treated the same as the other guys. And I couldn't really speak to anyone about this because there was a lot of shame in me. After my under 19 cricket season, the lockdown happened, and during the lockdown, I I finally had the time to reflect upon all these feelings that I've been suppressing over the years, and I came across uh, what it meant to be a trans woman, and I consulted my therapist about it. So, while talking about all this and while understanding what it meant to be a trans girl, it finally clicked to me that I am a trans woman. Like, I just had to understand myself with all the suppression and shame that I had built up over the years, and with the help of few very close friends who were very supportive of me when I came out to them about this, I could actually feel present or right for the first time, which I never really did when I tried to be a boy. So that period was a really tough time for me because I was questioning everything in terms of my identity and my future ahead. And it got to a point where I got so depressed where I had to choose in terms of whether how I should be and whether how I need to be in terms of playing cricket and my future ahead. So I started going to a psychiatrist, and they prescribed me with antidepressants. And I was on antidepressants for around 4 or 5 months. And during that course as well, I just felt so numb from within, which was very confusing as well at that time, because I thought that I need to bury that feeling away again, and I need to just be like a normal person playing the sport that I've always loved, which I did for a while. But it got it got so bad for me to a point where it started affecting the way I played, and eventually I just started hating the sport, because I every day when I had to step on the field, I had to choose between who I am and what I need to do to be able to have a future in cricket. So all of this happened during lockdown, which was 2020, and I was on antidepressants for half of the year throughout that period, and I decided to stop because I just wasn't feeling right and feeling normal. When I was on antidepressants, I was just feeling numb throughout, and I started playing cricket again when the lockdown got lifted. When I started playing cricket, I every time I stepped on the field, I always felt like I I hated the fact that I had to choose between who I want to be and how I have to be in terms of playing cricket or my whole life. The last match that I played was in January 2021, uh, where things got so bad for me when I decided, and then I decided to stop playing cricket and decide to transition. And it was a really tough decision for me because I always loved sport. I always wanted to play for my country or have the opportunity to, just like how my dad did. And I thought, like, if I'm gonna live like this, it's not gonna be worth anything if I do, because I hated the way I looked. I hated the way I had to be in order to fit into this world. And that's when I made the decision to transition. And after that, I decided to come to the UK and get my master's degree here and just transition throughout. So during that period, I was so glad that I made the decision to come here and to transition, because I could finally get to be myself. And I did that. And at this point, I hadn't started any hormones. I had just socially come out to everyone and was presenting myself as female in terms of how I was dressing up. And there were a few people who gave me a few judgy looks or tried to make fun of me, but I didn't care about that. I just knew how right it felt for me, so I didn't care about how others thought of me or others perceived me at that point, or even now as well, cause this feeling that I have right now about being right and being as my true self, which I tried to suppress throughout these years, and when I could finally come out and be myself, uh, it was much better than what I had built my life up to, living as a guy. And I, I was just feeling so good, like so happy within myself. So after living like that for a year, I decided to come back to India and to to start medically transitioning. I consulted a psychiatrist about it, and I had a counselor with me throughout this whole process, where I was under counseling for 2 months additionally, with all my history being noted in terms of whatever I had felt back then. And after 2 months of counseling and therapy sessions, they gave me a letter, which is a gender dysphoria certificate, which states that I have gender dysphoria and I can start taking HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. I went to endocrinologist and they looked at my letter, and then they approved for they prescribed me hormones to start these medications. So this has been my story so far, and thank you for watching and for being part of this journey with me. This is just the beginning, and I'm so excited to share more about my life, my passions, and the lessons I've learned along the way. If you have any questions, thoughts, or just want to share your own story, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Until next time, remember, you are valid, you are loved, and you are enough.